This is Michael Popok, Legal AF. George Santos is not the only one facing felony counts now for fraudulent fundraising, election violations, unemployment fraud. He's now joined in the indictment Hall of Fame with his chief fundraiser, Sam Meile, M-E-I-L-E. He's been indicted just today by the Eastern District of New York U.S. Attorney's Office, led by Breon Peace, for impersonating, get this, Speaker of the House McCarthy's chief of staff. Why would he do that? To pick up people at a bar, to impress his friends and family? No, to try to separate donors from their money by impersonating McCarthy's chief of staff, acting like Santos was in close proximity with him, and in doing so, got big donors to write big checks to George Santos. We have a word for that in criminal law. It's called fraud. And if you do it in writing in an email, it's called wire fraud. And if you do it by a mailer, it's called mail fraud. And if you impersonate somebody, that's a felony too, especially a high-ranking official, and that's aggravated identity theft. Because he set up, Mr. Meile set up a email account that made it look like it was coming from the person he was impersonating. In this case, McCarthy's chief of staff. We know all that because the indictment has now been unsealed and it's available to us. It's, for those that are playing at home, it's case number 23-CR for criminal docket 317, and it's been assigned to a brand spanking new judge appointed by Joe Biden, President Biden, named Judge Aurelia Merchant, with a T, not to be confused with Merchan, who is the judge presiding over Donald Trump's case in state court in New York. This is Judge Merchant. Judge Merchant spent 14 years prosecuting people just like the one in front of her now with the Eastern District of New York's Office of the U.S. Attorney. She was also the executive assistant in that office, meaning she was the chief administrator along with being a trial lawyer. And she also served a fair amount of time in the New York Attorney General's office, not when they were doing the Trump investigation, but at another time. She's now going to be presiding over the arraignment and the arrest, the release, and all that of Mr. Meile, and we'll follow it closely. Remember, Santos got charged with 13 felony counts for fundraising fraud, election fraud, unemployment fraud, and everything else and the like. And here, his fundraiser is also being indicted, and one of the claims they're using against him is disgorgement or forfeiture, meaning he got a commission. So this was his incentive on every big donor that he landed, right? Every whale that he was able to bring in, he got a piece of it. If somebody donated $10,000 to Santos's super PAC, this guy got, 5% of it. So he was incentivized to lie, and pick up people's money along the way in this fraudulent scheme as alleged in the indictment. Now, interestingly enough, Santos is between a rock and a hard place, or in this case, between a federal indictment and another appearance in court in September in Islip, New York, and he's still in the House because they have not expelled him yet or impeached him yet or removed him yet because they need the votes. Let's be frank. They need the votes on the Republican side. So Santos missed a financial disclosure deadline. Oh, the irony, dripping in irony, Popok today. He had to disclose by the 15th of August, which is already come and gone. He's had to disclose his finances. The problem with disclosing his finances or amending his disclosures is he's got to get to an issue that's at the heart of the indictment, which is the $700,000 quote unquote loan. For those that aren't watching me on YouTube, I'm making air quotes, quote unquote loan that supposedly came from a company of his called Devalder. Or did it? And so now he's going to have to properly reveal these things in his disclosure, knowing that he's in criminal court. I'm not saying he's taking the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination, but he hasn't filed his required House financial disclosure, subjecting himself to up to a $75,000 fine. But he might think, well, anything I say is only going to be used against me in a court of law. I'm already facing indictments. I already have 13 felony counts. Let's not add any more. Let's skip the disclosure process in the House. What are they going to do? Impeach and remove me? And the answer to that is hopefully yes. That's Santos. This is people around Santos, because everybody knew he was a fraud, and birds of a feather, right? He hires Sam Mile, whatever his name is, in order to do fundraising. This guy says, well, I'm going to lie my way through it. In fact, one of the pieces of evidence that's referenced in the indictment, taken directly, I assume, from a search warrant and subpoena from Santos, is an email or a letter that this new defendant wrote to his boss, George Santos, and said, I faked my identity to a big donor. High risk, high reward. That's how I roll. And you'll be rolling your way right into a federal penitentiary or detention center nearest you very soon based on these charges. It's a simple indictment. Doesn't have a lot of moving parts. I've sort of outlined it all for you. And we'll follow what happens in this long national nightmare that is George Santos and his career and those around him as he comes crashing down and takes everybody down with him. Only in one place, and that is the YouTube channel for the MeidasTouch Network. You can follow me, Michael Popok, there. I'm a major contributor. All things related to law and politics. I do it on hot takes just like this one. You knew that. You watch me here. And if you want to find all of our contributors, you can go to one place, full service, one-stop shopping, the new MeidasTouch.com website. You'll find our audio content, our video content, our hot takes, and original writing, right? From a newsroom, right? Got a real newsroom at MeidasTouch, keeping you apprised on law, on politics, and at that intersection of law and politics. And then we pull it all together. You like hot takes? I like hot takes. You're going to love then our long format podcast on Wednesdays and Saturdays, because it's this times 5. In other words, we pull together and curate top 5 stories at that intersection of U.S. law and politics. And I do it on Wednesdays with Karen Friedman-Agnifilo. I do it on Saturdays with Ben Meiselas. And then you can pick it up on YouTube. You can watch us record it. You can watch us live. We're the number 1 live, usually 1 or 2 live YouTube channel that night. Wednesdays and Saturdays, or you can wait for the audio, or do both. It's all free. Everything I just described is free. Free subscriptions on MeidasTouch YouTube channel, free website, of course, and free audio downloads, right? But that's how you can help this movement. That's how you can help this network, is to continue to watch, listen, review, free subscribe. And if you like what I'm doing, and I hope you do, you can follow me on all things social media, including now on Threads at MS Popok. This is Michael Popok. Until the next hot take for Legal AF.
Hey, Meidas Mighty. Love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram at MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.